And we're live. Well, I'm live. This is the enormous UFO Supercell Show, or EUS Show number 10. Jeff is here because Matt can't be here because Matt's busy tonight. We're doing this on Saturday, August 20th, 2016. And I'm gonna argue because this is gonna be me ranting probably later on. But right now, outside, it does not feel like August 20th. It feels like October. It is nice. The wind is blowing out of the northwest. The temperature is in the low 70s or upper 60s. It's 7 o'clock at night. Yeah, the sun is setting, but the temperatures today were in the low 70s with a breeze. It just felt like fall just around the corner. You can just feel it coming. It's like just there. It feels like football weather, given that football just started because they had the week 0 games here in Iowa. Because week 0, don't get me on week 0 because it's a school thing. So don't get me on that because it's messed up. But there has been some high school football played. There's been some high school football played in other states as well. I know Alabama's had it. I think some other states have started their football season as well. And typically the funny thing about high school football is they start in the heat of summer and they end near snow. Luckily, the championship games are played at the Unidome in Cedar Falls indoors. But the season starts in late August and it ends just before Thanksgiving. So 3 months of fun ready to begin. Anyway, but we had some really hot days earlier this past week. We had some thunderstorms and we had quite an electrical storm the other night here. This is from storms that came in. This was a complex of storms that came through, I think, quite a bit of South Dakota, or at least South Dakota into Minnesota. Had quite a bit of damage in southern Minnesota. Well, not quite. Some decent damage, a lot of trees down and stuff. And this complex kind of went into Wisconsin, but it started back building a little bit. And the outflow boundary came through, cooled the temperature off. The dew point came down, felt nice. But the electrical display was really awesome because by the time those storms kind of oozed in, it sounds oozed in, that it was a very nice lightning display. I drove out north of town and watched the lightning. You see the rain shafts come and whatnot. It never rained here. The outflow boundary came through. The rain all went east of here. Nothing. We got rain last night. There was a little bit of lightning and thunder, but so we've had some decent rains. It's been a typical summer day. Or summer week, except now it does not feel like summer. We're going to have lows tonight in the low 50s. Wouldn't surprise me if some places maybe drop to 49. 49 degrees in Iowa in August. Yep, I'll take that. But I don't think crops will because they won't survive in temperatures like that. But it's supposed to get warm back into the low 80s and then it's going to drop back into the 70s. So the likelihood is the heat of summer is probably going to be over for the time being, although you can have some September surprises. So we'll see about that. When we look across the country, first off, I'm going to look at the hurricane stuff. So let me look at that because, excuse me. Of course, we're doing this on the 20th of August. And you can see here we have Tropical Storm Fiona out in the middle of the Atlantic. It's a minimal tropical storm. We have some disturbances that could start whoops. And then I just did that. Stupid me. Sorry. We have Fiona right here. We have a disturbance here that's in the middle of the Atlantic. Possibly will develop as it gets toward the Antilles right about here. And then this is coming off. And when a storm is already being, a disturbance right here is already being displayed with an X that's right, just coming off the African coast. That's going to be a Cape Verde's, wait a minute, Cabo Verde. Because we're going to have a discussion about what these islands are. Everybody has been calling them Cape Verde for so long. It's Cabo Verde. So these islands, there'll be these island storms. Cabo Verde, whatever the heck. These islands, it's going to be one of these. This storm will be probably a storm. So that'll probably be named. Gosh, I don't know what the next name after Fiona is. I'd have to look me and my Christmas things, but you can see, but Fiona is expected, as you can see, as I'm going to bring this up, Fiona is expected to slowly dissipate as it moves west. It's been kind of looking pretty poor lately. And as we look at that, you can see here's Fiona. Looks like the center is almost exposed. The central dense overcast is being flung. You can kind of see it being flung off to the east a little bit. You can see a disturbance here. Looks probably this disturbance, I think, right here where this first X is, where it's numbered 1. That one is probably being affected by Fiona's outflow. The outflow is probably kind of shearing it off a little bit. But you can see this big complex of storms that's over like Guinea-Bissau, and Liberia out in that area, just south of Mauritania, and this is blowing off Guinea-Bissau, the Gambia, that area, and it's blowing off to the west. This is probably going to be, if they can find circulation, this is probably going to be a depression. The one that's number 2 probably is going to be a depression within probably at least 36 hours. I would say it might probably be named before it even gets to 25 west, which is this line right here, or it's this dotted line. Wouldn't surprise me. This is probably going to be a storm that's going to cross and then curve up, because right now there's the mid latitudes are really, there's a lot of storms going on. You can see front here, storm here. That might be something to watch. Then there's this storm here that brought the storms around here last night. There's a lot of stuff that's going to curve a lot of these storms off into keep them out in the Atlantic. So we'll keep watch of that, because that's in the Atlantic. In the Pacific, we have Tropical Storm K, which is funny because this is my mother's middle name. K. And I'm not kidding. That's actually your middle name. But anyway, this is going to be moving west, pretty much dissipating as most storms do. It's going to move west and then kind of die out and turn into a low cloud swirl well west of Baja, probably, as it says, late Monday into early on Tuesday. So that's not going to affect anybody. It might bring the surf up a little bit on the central and southern coast of Baja, but it's not going to do much of anything else. Outside of that, elsewhere in the Pacific, nothing really is happening at this point. And if I bring up the satellite, and I'll bring up the satellite here, because I'm going to just do that, because why not? And you can see here, you can see, look at this right here, and I'm going to do this. Let me stop it at the current. A lot of these clouds right here, that's cold air coming in. You very rarely see that. You see that a lot, especially if you get these big cold air pushes from Canada in late summer. You tend to get fair weather cumulus clouds, then the sun sets and then they dissipate. And you get that a lot when there's cold air up in the atmosphere. But that's what you get, because see, you can see that if I put it, you see right there. And some of these little cloud bands could produce a brief shower. So, and some of them were, but they'll tend to, as the sun sets, they'll dissipate. See the monsoon going on in the southwest. Storms, the typical summertime convection down here. And then nothing much going on. Some more rain and moisture coming in from into Canada. So that might be something we'll have to watch as well. So we'll see what becomes of that. Back to the hurricane and whatnot there. So then I'm going to complain, whoops, about gnats. I hate gnats. This must be like a bad year for gnats because I've never had a gnat problem in my apartment until this year. And it's probably really bad. And then I say that, and I have not had a gnat like land on my computer screen at all since I came home. So it's something goofballs going on here. So, but anyway, but I'm just really just kind of a little bit miffed about the gnats and whatnot, because I get rid of one, I have two more. So anyway, that's what's going on there. Outside of that, it's still going to stay. Oh, then because more schools starting, so all the kids are all sad and depressed that they're going to have to start school again. Oh, my thing is, yay, the kids are all in school. Yay, they're not running around causing trouble. So there's that going for us. So, well, going for everybody, because the kids can now be in school and they can learn stuff. Other than that, I wanted to discuss, because the sad state of affairs is, and as most of you know, that we've been doing this show, this show, and the Polygon show that preceded it on Google Hangouts, and of course everybody knows that if you didn't know by now, that Google Hangouts, the on-air Hangouts that I use and have used with this show and on Polygon, are going away in less than a month. In less than a month. In fact, about 3-4 weeks from now, and they're going to be moved to YouTube Live, and I'm going to probably do a beta test on that, and that's going to kind of make me a little. That doesn't surprise me, given the fact that Google Plus started out really well and has really kind of faded out really fast. So it's not surprising that this is going to happen, but I figured it was probably going to happen. So we'll try to keep this going on YouTube Live when we get to that point. But other than that, outside of that, I don't have anything. I'll probably have to come up with something else. Oh yeah, there's been some earlier in the week. We had some severe weather. It wasn't as bad as they said it was as predicted, which is probably a good thing. But anyway, I don't have anything else. It's kind of a short show for the fact that Matt was busy with stuff, and I kind of started this late because I didn't start this on time. But it's August, and we're going to be getting into September soon, and there's going to be some interesting things we're going to probably discuss as we move into September. Hopefully, we're going to have some interesting topics to discuss, because we're probably going to have to start to. I worry that this is probably going to be a year we're going to have really bad, some really bad weather in the fall, because we seemingly have it lately more often than not. So we'll see what comes of that. And there's some other stuff that's coming up too as well. Along with, I did see this one thing, and this will be the last thing I'll discuss before before I get off and we're done with the show. That I noticed that grass, typically this time of the year, and I'd have to discuss this with Derek off air, that grass, this is the time of the year grass tends to stop growing, or it grows a lot slower. But it seems like this year there was a report in the Cedar Rapids Gazette about the grass is actually starting to grow fast again, which is probably due to mainly a lot of the hot, humid weather we've been having recently. But and then this is the last thing I'm going to discuss, and then I'm going to depart. I have actually started seeing trees change leaves. I've seen a few trees with their leaves starting to change color. I am not kidding. It is August, and I am seeing trees change colors. And this is going to be the last thing. This was the thing that I wanted to discuss too. Parts of Wyoming yesterday had snow. Casper, Wyoming had a record low high temperature yesterday, meaning the highest, it's a high temperature that's been, a record low high is a low high temperature, meaning a high temperature that's at a record minimum or at a low. They had a high temperature yesterday in Casper, Wyoming of 54. Can you imagine 54 degrees as a high temperature in August in Wyoming? And parts of Wyoming very close to Yellowstone had snow in August. Just think, it's August. It's snowing in Wyoming. What do you think September is going to bring? A blizzard in Kansas. I doubt it, but that's what it said, what might happen. But I hope not. So yeah, if that doesn't think that when snow is, that football weather is coming, that it's snowing in places in this country, and we're not talking about the tippy top of Pikes Peak either, or the tippy top of any mountain in Colorado that's 10,000 feet or higher. We're talking a lot lower down, like at least 7,000 or 8,000 or even 5,000, 6,000 feet now. So I mean, when you're getting much colder air than normal around here, back there, and you're back over in Wyoming, and then over here too, you're gonna get some weird weather. So we're gonna see what happens coming up. It's gonna be fairly decent. Gonna be some rain chances. We'll get to those when we get to them. But grass looks okay. It's still growing, which makes me mad because I mowed today, which I was not happy about. So other than that, next week we're going to try to do our show, because I said, because we ended up doing this show this week on a Saturday, because Friday yesterday we were both too busy. So next week we're going to try to do a show, probably the Friday or Saturday. We'll try to do that, and Matt is hopefully going to be back with us then, and we'll see what happens with the weather as we see fit. We'll probably be talking about a hurricane somewhere in the Atlantic with that Cabo Verde system that's probably going to be developing as either the G or H storm, because we're probably going to have 2 more storms between now and next week. So if you want to get a hold of me, I'm on Twitter, IowaWX. If you want to get a hold of me on email, iowx@gmail.com. And you can find these shows on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/ well, I'll just link you on my Twitter account. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.